You're watching Weekend One, your 30-minute wrap of the last 7 days here on ENCA. This week, the Democratic Alliance secured a victory in the Constitutional Court. The court ruled that a controversial SMS campaign was fair play. It ruled that the message contained an opinion rather than a statement of fact. And that, it seems, makes all the difference.
Last year, more than 1 million prospective voters received this SMS from the DA. It claims the Nkandla report shows how President Jacob Zuma stole taxpayers' money to build his private homestead. The Electoral Court ordered the DA to retract the message, saying it was misleading and could be interpreted as fact. But the opposition party has fought it all the way to the Constitutional Court. The court found that the SMS was not meant to be a statement of fact. Rather, it was an opinion or an interpretation of the Nkandla report. And because it's an opinion, the Constitutional Court doesn't need to rule on whether the statement is true.
We celebrate that, in fact, the Constitutional Court upholds the very first principle of our Constitution, which says that there's freedom of speech, and more critically, heading towards an election, that, in fact, that must not be tamed down.
Although it's lost this battle, the ANC says it won the war.
The outcome of the elections were in favor of the African National Congress. And although we welcome the ruling of the court to the extent that it does, but we still think even that opinion, as in terms of the ruling, is unfair.
Under electoral law, opinions are not subject to the same scrutiny as statements of fact. But there's a fine line between fact and opinion. And this contentious issue could come up again in future elections. Pagamile Hlubi, Johannesburg.
Another social media controversy made headlines this week. The Equality Court tried to resolve a battle between the Human Rights Commission and singer Sunette Bridges. The Commission took Bridges to task after racial comments appeared on her Facebook page. But she says she's not responsible for the controversial posts that other people make.
It's racist comments like these left on Sunette Bridges' Facebook page that prompted the Human Rights Commission to take the singer to court. I still say, shoot these things dead. Handle them like they handle us. Forget for a minute that you are a Christian white person and think like them. I'm a big fan of Adolf Hitler. He was a man that did not tolerate nonsense. He sent 5.5 million Jews to their death. South Africa needs another Hitler to kill them. This followed her posting a number of stories about crime and farm killings, which she labeled barbaric. Bridges says she can't be blamed for the vitriol that her post unleashed.
She never gave me the impression that she's unreasonable. I don't think that there's a problem from her side to not to be offensive in South Africa. It's also no offensive remarks in our view, which she is facing the music about. It's about what other people say.
The Commission doesn't agree and believes she created a platform for those comments and should be held responsible.
The Human Rights Commission is definitely not out to persecute every single person who, by the by, has got an unlawful comment posted on their page. But if somebody deliberately goes about to create a platform for racist hate speech, the Human Rights Commission wants them to be held accountable as a publisher and not just a simple innocent bystander to hate speech.
In an affidavit to the court, Bridges says she posted the articles because she was a concerned citizen of South Africa and that white people are dying like flies under ANC rule. Judge Siraj Desai has urged Bridges and the HRC to consult social media experts about how to manage racist comments online and resolve the matter outside court. If they don't, the matter will return to the court in April. Bridges has since removed the offending articles and comments on her fan page and closed her personal Facebook page to all but her close friends. Bonga Dlulane, Western Cape High Court.
Guptagate was back in the news this week as well. The public protector announced that she has completed her investigation into how a chartered plane was allowed to land at Waterkloof Air Force Base for a Gupta family wedding in 2013. She is due to deliver her report in the next few weeks. Charges against the Air Force personnel who were originally blamed for the breach of protocol were dropped this past week. But the matter is far from over.
It was the kind of story that sent shockwaves around South Africa. The influential Gupta family landing a private plane carrying wedding guests at a military airbase. To add insult to injury, the guests were given a VIP escort to Sun City, courtesy of the police. In the wake of this embarrassing national security breach, senior members of the ANC demanded answers from Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula.
I'm looking for an objective and correct and candid response. If she says I didn't know, she must say so. And if she says I didn't know, she must say it is so-and-so who authorized this landing.
Opposition parties blamed President Jacob Zuma's seemingly cozy relationship with the wealthy Guptas. In response, government launched its own investigation, promising that heads would roll. It's been almost 2 years, and Zuma has been cleared of any involvement in the saga. Senior diplomat Bruce Kolwane, who facilitated the landing, was initially demoted for his role, only to be redeployed as an ambassador to The Hague. While some Metro cops were suspended and lost out on salary increases as punishment, that wasn't the case for more senior officials. Gauteng Deputy Police Commissioner Phumzo Gela was suspended, only to be back at his post a week later. Phakamile Hlubi, Johannesburg.
The South African National Defence Union plans to issue a civil lawsuit to force the state to give reasons for the withdrawal of charges against 2 officers accused of involvement in the Guptagate saga.
We would now issue a civil lawsuit and let the state explain, after 2 years of shenanigans, as to why these officers were implicated in this matter, and let them come and prove their findings, amongst other which is Minister Jeff Gadebe's Justice Cluster's so-called finding.
Let's move further afield now, and our neighbours in the region continued to battle rising floodwaters. A rescue team from South Africa headed off to Malawi this week, and the South African National Defence Force touched down in Mozambique to help people there devastated by flooding. Our ENCA teams were there as well.
This is what disaster looks like from the air. 1,000 millimeters of rain have drenched Zambezia province daily. Entire villages still marooned. Roads damaged and water and electricity supplies cut off. It's hard to believe when you see this, but the situation is actually getting better. While it may look on the surface like the flooding and the waters have subsided, much of the ground is now dry, but the humanitarian crisis remains really on a large scale. This, we are told, is going to be a mission that will continue for as long as it is needed, according to the SANDF. The initial deployment plan was 14 days, but they are saying that they will only leave once they feel comfortable that their Mozambican counterparts are able to cope. Thulasizwe Semelane, Maganja do Costa in Mozambique.
Malawi is bracing for more rain this weekend, but the country's government says the worst may be over. Flooding in that area has already displaced nearly 50,000 people. Our reporter Lester Kivet is with the South African rescue team in Malawi.
We are currently being ferried across some what used to be grasslands now. There are boats all around ferrying people across from isolated areas here in this region. We do understand that there is a pregnant woman in that village right behind us at the moment, and ambulances are waiting for on the other side. They're waiting for these ferrymen to bring her across. It's just part of the devastation that we've seen here in the southern regions of Malawi over the past week. More inclement weather is expected over the weekend, and disaster risk management officials are hoping that they don't see rain that will bring the scale of what we're seeing here now.
Still ahead on Weekend One, shock for some mixed-race couples this week as they discover some old apartheid laws have not yet been repealed. And we say farewell to former Police Commissioner Jackie Salibi, who died this week.